Like, we're rolling, you know, Raven.
Hey.
We're rolling.
It's all synced up, yeah?
Everything's synced up,
Hey, technical.
All right, fam. We here, sincere and specific.
Hey.
You get me? Man like Raven in the building. Yeah, fam. It's the first one back after a while. You get me? What you saying, Doji?
I'm living good, man. I'm living good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one day at a time.
Like saying nothing, man. We're gonna get straight into it still.
Boom.
You get me? Let's start from how you even found out about Speaker's Corner.
Man, I think I've been going for some time though, but it was like on and off. So I heard there was a place where people go. You talk about like, you know, deep stuff. So I said I'll go. And this was like 4 years ago, maybe it was. Went one time, came back. I think there was one time when I went there, I decided, you know what, I only want to come back here when I've actually got something I'm trying to like talk about, promote, or try to get a movement going. So
yeah. So when people was telling you about it, well, you were in Black Betterment building at Raven them time there?
I've always been there, but I wasn't as dedicated. Like it was more so like the
like a passion thing.
Yeah. But then you realise that if you don't do something, it probably won't get done, right? So, you know,
yeah,
be the change you want to see.
So what was Speaker's Corner like when you was going there back in the day?
Same, you know, it was the same as it is now. It was mainly religious kind of debates. It was a bit more calm, to be honest. It was a bit more calm. Yeah.
So what did you assess like the pros and cons to be of the environment, how it was set up as it was?
I mean, it's good in the sense the pros is it's a place where people can go talk about what they want, you know, get their opinions out there. I guess the cons, I don't know. I mean, I can't really see no con, to be honest. Like, it is what it is, you know. The funny thing is, Speaker's Corner could be everywhere, right? You could just go anywhere and talk about what you want to talk about, right? You don't have to go to a corner on a Sunday. So I don't see no cons.
Yeah.
It's a pro, you know. You try to promote speaking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Saying that, man. So tell me about Black Betterment building now. Like, not only just Black Betterment building, but what shaped your philosophy in terms of that, and like what was you doing before your mind was in that frame of thought? You get me?
So I mean, basically, literally growing up, you know, it seemed like every time I saw black people, like collectively, what we're calling black people, there always seemed to be some kind of hardship, and it became culturalized. It became something that was normal. So even like when my dad was alive, he told me, a young person, he goes, "You're gonna have to try twice as hard as everyone else," and I was like, "Yeah." And this was like a normal thing.
Wait, when you say that, why?
Well, he told me that, you know, when you want to go out and get a job, or you want to try to progress somewhere, you know, you're in a system where you're going to have to generally try harder than most other people. And he said, because you're black.
Yeah.
And this was like, you know, he died when I was 7, so you're looking at when I was 6 or something. You know what I mean? This is something like, okay. But even then, when he told me, it was normal. It was like, yeah, I know that. Like, you know,
Were you saying the life experiences matched what he was telling you already?
Yeah, of course.
At them ages there, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saw it. You know, there's certain things you see. Just like certain girls are going to see that there's certain privileges males are going to have in certain situations, and it's just they accept that. Or some people, when you see certain things, you encompass it. It becomes part of you, so you don't even necessarily see it as an issue. Like growing up, many issues I saw, what I'm describing as an issue now, it was just normal life. It's like, yeah, I live in a poor environment. That's what it is. You don't question why. You don't look at the history of why I'm here, and you know why the opportunities are like this, and why when I look at my community, those people are treated that way. When I look in that community, they're treated that way. It's just that's what it is.
So you didn't think of it like it's. I know you said you just like, yeah, I understand that's what it is, but you didn't think of it like it's unfair?
No, never. I thought that's what it was. It's like
that's just the way life is. You don't know any different.
Yeah, so that's what it was. It's like, you know, just like even now, you know, there's a king who's got millions, and there's a homeless man who don't have anything. And you go, that's what it is. It's only when you get older, you start breaking down, you go, why? And that's one of the most important questions I ever asked myself was why? Why is this?
Yeah, when did you come to that stage there?
I was young. I came to that stage like 15, 14, like why? Like just stepping back and seeing how people are acting, and they weren't asking why, they're just doing things. And when I started asking why, then
What made you ask why though?
well, it's not understanding. Not to go too deep, but certain people have.
I want to go deep, man.
You want to go deep? You want to go
This
deep?
isn't saying specific, fam. You talking about? You
No,
wanna go deep, man?
I'm just not questioning things, really. You know, not questioning things. You have to ask. There's so many things we could talk about, but if anyone ever comes up to me and asks me any question, I'm going to ask why, and if I'm not satisfied with the answer, then I'm going to push more. Innit? That's what I'm asking everyone should be doing, really. You know what I mean? So every time I ask questions, more questions were pushed in. So I then ask more questions. And then
if you was already content in that things are just the way they are, and you was just getting on with it anyway, I don't see where the why comes from.
That's a good question. No,
Now, why do you feel the why is necessary then?
because at a certain point, I guess you can level things off. Like at a certain age, you accept it, and then as you get older, your brain develops, and you think, well, hold on a minute. Let me give you a perfect example, right? When you're young, you think your mum and dad are like very intelligent. Everything they say is perfect.
Yeah.
They can't be wrong. And then when you start getting older, you realize they're making back-to-back mistakes.
Yeah.
So then you have to think, okay, why did I think that? I need to start questioning other things. That's like one of the first things I realized, you know?
Yeah. And you just put the system into
you put it
the system into a different perspective.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And even today, I'm asking why. And then there's a lot of people, people who might have certain kind of faiths or beliefs, it makes sense for them not necessarily to ask why. Maybe they're content with the answer they're given.
We're going to get into that still.
We should get into that.
We're going to get into that still.
There you go.
Alright then, what made you feel like you had to share this why with other people?
Because I think, as it's connected to say Black Betterment Building, all right, why? I would say, I think when it comes to me doing Black Betterment work, right, I'm looking at most activities when it comes to black people, in my opinion, is like low-hanging fruit, meaning there's so much things that we're not necessarily doing collectively that if we were to do it, we would already get there because there'll be no one else doing it. So I thought that, you know, if I don't start, no one else is going to start, and if we do start, we can actually see betterment.
Yeah,
it's that simple. So if we actually did something and that's why I have a very tangible step-by-step plan of how black people can improve collectively. Yeah. It's not even like a rocket science, but obviously there's challenges, and the challenges is how people think.
Yeah, I was going to get into that still because see, like how you said at one stage you were just content that things are the way they are and just getting on with it. So when you introduce your ideas to other people, what's been your response from those people?
Well, I think, so first you have to establish what I'm pushing forward. So what I'm pushing forward is observing that collectively and historically black people, as we're describing them, us, have gone through a tremendous amount of hardship collectively, and not that other people groups haven't gone through it, but when it comes to actually like rectifying it or trying to actually, you know, find solutions for it, I think we're still not there. So obviously the first thing that snaps in my head is, well, let's try to do it, right? So the challenge that comes in is people seem to be psychologically acceptant of many of the conditions we're in, or the solutions for trying to reverse it, they see as negative. And that's like the biggest confusion that you're going to see week to week. You see me speaking.
How's that go?
So a lot of people think that if you see a problem and you try to rectify it and you try to be dedicated to that problem, and if we're talking about black people, like dedicated to helping black people, you're practicing racism.
Okay.
And that's why I came up with the term kumbayarism and all that kind of stuff.
Alright, stick a pin there. See, when it comes to racism, because when I ask a lot of different people, what do they mean by that? I don't always get a consistent answer back.
No, you won't.
So tell me, what do you feel people mean when they accuse you of practicing racism?
So they're going by the traditional term of racism, where it's like if you single out people based on race in a negative way, as they're defining it, or any way, then they're calling that racism, a racist.
Because what you're saying isn't in a negative way, though, isn't it?
No, it's not negative.
I'm saying like people you would question, I think they would say that it's not negative trying to help black people. So I don't feel that's a negative way in it. So
no, but what they're saying is if I'm telling black people, because I'm very clear, I'm telling black people to be dedicated to helping black people in all areas of people activity when it's constructively possible. That be dedicated. When other people hear that, they think that's a form of racism. They don't understand that I'm saying this because this is how we're going to fix racism. So if you have people groups that's not on the same level, you need to be dedicated in that area. I mean, it just makes sense for me. But
so what do you, when you say, and this is what we need to do in order to fix racism, what do you define as that racism then?
Well, historically, I'm saying racism is, so you can break it down, right? If racism is mistreating people based upon, say, race, right? Right? Then you can say that historically has been practiced, and where the dominance comes from historically, when you look at the history of it at the moment, you're looking at, say, Europeans going around the world and dominating everyone else, right? And they've put systems in place where today you're still seeing the legacy of that. Yeah, so some people describe that as systematic white supremacy, right? So that is the
is that what you call it as well?
Yeah, I'll call it structural European domination, systematic white supremacy. I think that is the actual working scientific theory that I'm seeing. I'm seeing that in practice today. That doesn't mean that every European is racist or whatever it might be. It just means that the closer someone comes to Europeanness in any area of activity, the more privileges they're gonna come across. So, but you can get like a very rich black person, a very poor white person. When you look back collectively in activities, the closer you are to Europeanness, the more you're gonna find any kind of privilege. So that could, when you define the word Europeanness, that could be like a Nigerian living in Nigeria will not get as much privileges as a Nigerian living in England, because the Nigerian in England is closer to Europeanness. And him speaking English and dressing of a European culture might give him more access to certain privileges and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So So when people are calling you racist now, what's your response to that?
Nothing. I mean, I don't respond to most things, to be honest. They're incorrect. One thing I would say is, if you have a conversation with me, you sit down and you actually ask the questions, and you realize that most things people think is not correct. Like, there's no negative thing I'm doing. Everything I'm doing is really positive. It's to uplift black people, and it's necessary, because I think black people. The problem with black people, right, is every time we try to do something for black people will jump in and say, "Why everyone else? Why everyone else?" And that's our problem. Our problem is we're used as that kind of like template for helping everyone. Literally, like, go say, every time you try to be dedicated to helping black people in any activity, someone says, "What about this man? What about that man?" But you don't see that practice in any other people group.
Tell me why that's a bad thing.
Why it's a bad thing?
Yeah.
It's a bad thing because it's like it's almost like it's like you look at the news, you're looking all over the place, and you're seeing there's like a dedication to like undermining black people, right? You might see, you might not, but if you do see it, yeah, let's go like you see that, right? So there has to be time dedicated to fix that, right? But if you're gonna go and fix it, and then people are saying, by you dedicating time to fix it, you're practicing racism, or you're singling out other people, then you're not actually recognizing the actual problem of actually trying to fix people who are in a not so well place.
So do you feel like most people you come across don't see it?
You know what? It's hard to pick a person's mind. You know, like if some people could be trolling. Some people could be so conditioned to certain. Like look at the videos I'm in. You know, you have people dedicated to tell me, no, man, we have to invite everyone else. If we have a meeting, so I said, look, let's have a meeting to get black people together to talk about the issues that affect black people, to train us how to work together, boost self-esteem, and just find out what's really going down. And within that conversation, the first thing black people are telling me is we need to bring other people there. That doesn't make no sense to me. The first thing they're saying.
Is that like one of the most common
occurrences? Of course. Go look at any video I'm in. I'm talking and then someone will go, what did you say? What about these other people?
So if all them people they are saying that, like you keep on coming across that, that seeing that that's some type of system then, innit? It's like it's not by accident.
It's trained. Yeah, it's trained, isn't it? It's trained.
So where does that come from?
I think it comes from like, here's what it is, right? You have laws historically that are aimed towards, say, black people, right? So look at America, Jamaica, wherever it is historically, it's like, if you're black, you can't do this. If you're black, you can't do that, right? And then at one time they say, you know what? This is wrong. You can't just single people out because of where they're from, where they look like. And then they go, okay, so single out people because of how they look or their race or being African or whatever it is now wrong. And then it's like, but the problem is the legacies, black people are still down from what happened there, right? Yeah. So because you've said that, now black people are like, okay, you've said that, but you haven't given us any kind of like rope to come back up. You haven't actually, given us any kind of aid for what you've taken away. Yeah, and you can see that, no aid. So then the only way to come back up is for black people to be dedicated on their own to get back up. But then you go home, you've made a rule. It's like, you can't be dedicated on skin color or ethnicity. It's like, you can't do that. You have to be inclusive of everyone. Yeah. But then that's the technology, isn't it? That's what's happened. And that's the perfect way to oppress someone. Like, why don't we collect...
You feel like that's by design?
No, I know it's by design. That's the perfect design. It's one of the best designs I've ever seen in my life. If you want to destroy people, that's what you do. We're the living experiment. We're seeing it. So we all historically we know what's happened to black people. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to see what's happened, right? You don't have to look at every single interaction black people are in all over the world. Yeah, whenever you meet other people, whatever it is, we seem to be at the bottom, right? We make up the jail cells. Education is an issue, whatever, right? And then even good things don't even get like promoted on the media. Like this isn't like a hidden science. This is like, if you're a black man, you don't know this, then I don't know what you're looking at, innit? So there's a dedication there, but when it comes to fixing it, it's an issue. When it comes to the people who are actually most in that kind of hardship to try to do something, there's an issue.
And you saying that's by design?
Of course it's by design.
So what would be the have you thought about what would be the effects of black people get bettering themselves?
Yeah, if black people better themselves, then it's like, I guess certain other people groups will not have a certain kind of power structure, certain kind of incomes they won't be able to make. I think there's a fear that I've noticed that a lot of people think that if black people get organized and come together, they might do to others what others have done to them collectively. And that's what I'm seeing that in
such
certain
as what?
Well, if you historically black people were enslaved, or colonized, right? So a lot of people, when I talk, there's a fear like, okay, well, if you get in power, what are you going to do back? I don't know where this conversation comes. Well, I know where it comes from, but it's alarming. If you look at a lot of the videos that's on the internet of me speaking, a lot of the non-black people are saying that. So you talk about black Betterment building, the first thing they talk about is violence. Who are you going to be violent to? Are you going to attack us or whatever?
Well, you say is that from mostly non-black people?
Non-black people. Black people tend to be more so like, we have to include everyone, the world is equal, everyone's the same, kind of stuff like that. While non-black people, it's like, oh, are you going to hurt us? If we were fighting, who would you back in a fight? Like, stuff has got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's weird. It's not weird, it's understandable, but...
So what have you got? How do you plan on dealing with that? Or how have you been dealing with that?
Well, it's like this, yeah. People always look for an excuse for the reason. So with me, I'm not an aggressive guy. I'm very calm, I have a code of conduct. I'm very dedicated, I'm committed. So it's just being consistent. And for every person that's trying to say no, there's someone saying yes, right? So you can change the world, or at least a collective with, say 400 dedicated people rather than 1 million undedicated people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's about finding those constructive people and trying to do things to influence people. So, have influence. Try to change the direction of certain mindset. Try to install people to learn certain crafts, whether it's like, IT, something where you can actually make something that can be utilized and tangibly change people's realities. Try to influence people who might do poetry, who might be maybe famous footballers, have them have certain philosophies that actually makes people dedicated to Black Betterment building.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?